Hello, Cyndi Olin here with Create Your Own Luck and Love, and welcome to the Successful Woman's Guide to Love. And I'm so excited to introduce my special guest, Jonita. Jonita I don't want to destroy your last name. So Jonita D'souza, right?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect. I'll share a little bit about you to our watchers and listeners. She's a self-leadership mentor for women, a feminine lifestylist, our author, assisting modern day busy women who struggle with burnout, overwhelm, body love, to reconnect with their feminine, sensual energy using ancient Taoist and Tantric arts so women can create a lifestyle that's fulfilling, nurturing, and pleasurable. Who doesn't want that? Anyway, so I'm so excited you're here with us, Jonita.
Yes, thank you for this space. Thank you for creating this space because I'm so excited for this topic in itself. It's so required and I'm excited for our conversation here.
Me too.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, can't wait. So let's dive right into what is your feminine Empress archetype? It sounds so royal to me. I love it.
Yeah, so this archetype was coined by me in 2017, approximately after I had come out of a shamanic journey. And what at that time I was struggling particularly in my life was that, you know, I was doing this work and I was doing the feminine practices. I was running a business and I was learning about feminine archetypes, and there were so many archetypes. And when you go into the mysteries of feminine arts, you will come across more and more and more. And I could relate to every archetype. And as you know, Carl Jung pretty much had said that archetypes are mythic characters that are in our psyche, in the collective psyche of people, consciously or unconsciously. So that's why we can easily connect. And many times these several archetypes create our personality. Mm-hmm. And sometimes some of those archetypal energies become our dominant energies, right? So I was really confused and I wanted something much more practical, which was something that I can use on a regular basis and that can help me to be connected in my body, in my sensuality, but also show up as the leader, not to, you know, push, work hard and stuff like that. And hence this download just appeared to me and I started working on it. So Feminine Empress is a trilogy of 3 particular archetypes. The one is the lover archetype, which is pretty much so important for all of us women to connect with this energy of our own sensuality, sacred pleasure, but most importantly, so that we ensure safety in our body, to open to even receive more, to be in our bodies and enjoy our bodies and have our nervous systems, you know, regulated on a day-to-day basis. So that was the first archetype, and I was so connected to this archetype. And what I also noticed, so let me first finish the other 2 parts of the trilogy. The second archetype that was under the feminine archetype umbrella, feminine Empress archetype umbrella, is the mother archetype. Mm. And this mother archetype, I had a huge resistance to connect with. Firstly, because at the time when I was doing this work, I wasn't a mother and I was thinking like, it's going to come to me sometime in some phase in my life. So I'm going to leave the mother archetype aside for now and just go explore other archetypes. It's not that interesting, but it looked like that's exactly what I needed at that time. And the mother archetype is pretty much this archetype that we've got to embrace as modern day leaders, busy women, women of the 21st century, is to really remother ourselves. Remother ourselves.
It's like the reparenting, remother. That's exactly what came through for me when you were sharing it. You were resistant to it because you were thinking, it means I'm a mother and I'm not yet. Yeah,
that's so true.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah, so the mother archetype is also related to our womb, our wisdom, our intuition in itself. And when we connect to that body of our body's work with the mother archetype through our womb space, we are able to connect to a source, a resource that we have within ourselves, which is greater than ourselves. And the more I was connecting, I was understanding that, okay, it's not anyone else's responsibility, but my own responsibility to remother myself into this new person I am becoming each day. I'm choosing to become each day. So hence that archetype was an important part under the feminine empress umbrella. And the final archetype, the third and the final, is the warrior archetype, which I felt really helped me to become visible with authenticity, become visible in my decisions, and be the protector of my inner child itself. So not like the warriors that go into battle or something, but the warrior that really holds a strong set of standards and protection for the self, so that I could, come out of all those ideas of self-abuse, belittling and all of that, and also to anchor a part of my masculine energy that will assist me to become visible, to show up, to stand in trust and courage in front of the people and express myself, express my gift. So I started working with these three archetypes, the lover, the mother, and the warrior. And each day I would connect to these aspects, regulating my body, like literally even for 5 minutes, coming into home with my womb.
Connect with them. Like what practice did you use to connect with them?
Yeah, so most important practice for me for the day was to connect with my lover essence. So it would be usually a somatic practice, and it varied around different times of the month based on my moon cycle, I would say. But mostly it was connecting with my body through my touch, through sound, through breath. So some days it would look like just a normal movement practice. Some days it was just holding myself in my body. I also teach about jade eggs. So some days it was some kind of jade egg practice. In any which ways or other, I took the time to connect with that lower essence part of myself, so that I'm really excited about myself for this day. Right.
Yes. Yeah. That root chakra connection with your essence, depending on what I'm hearing you say, what you felt guided to connect with that day.
Yeah. And what I started to also notice as I was practicing, I was attracting more women who wanted to work with these archetypes. So it was really happening very simultaneously. It was kind of like a validation for this download that I started getting. So I started taking women into 3 months mentorship around these archetypes, so that we can, what I noticed is that many of us were operating and are oftentimes operating in the shadow sides of these archetypes in particular, where, when we are in the shadow.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when we are in the shadow of the lover, what happens is that we get just so lost in the love of love itself, like we lose ourselves. And this was a common pattern that I was recognizing. I had it myself experienced, so it was nothing new. So the mother archetype was also something that I could see when women were connecting with their womb space and their feminine. What was also happening is that they were cutting off themselves with their masculine energy, which was also a part, which is very important part of becoming visible. So these women were feeling very tender to even go out and stand in authority. You know, doing a lot of feminine work is not that real answer, right?
Right.
So yeah, so there were, and then the warrior in its shadow looks like, you know, having difficulties maintaining boundaries and saying yes and no to the things that we really stand for, integrity and all of that. So it became a really practical way for me every day to check in with these three archetypes, and my body of work really created from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So why are these archetypes important for women today? Like, why are they important for them to learn and to embody? And
yeah, so one of the things that what I see a feminine empress, the energetics of feminine empress is the core energetics of feminine empress is that she does not live or lead her life with the energy of a beggar. And when I say these words to women, it really hits hard because it is really true. Oftentimes we are literally begging for love, begging for attention, begging for money, begging to receive. Even when we pray or set intention, the energy is from begging in the sense putting yourself less than and expecting.
Not being in the power, so suggesting there's lack and
yes.
that you are not empowered. But so yeah, I totally get that. So instead, what I'm hearing you say, the counterpart to that is coming from an empowered energy, even in prayer, right? Like,
right, exactly, and especially in prayer. So the feminine empress, she does not live or lead with the energy of the beggar, but with the energy of a conscious co-creator. So even when we enter prayer, it's not like we are really begging for our situation to be fixed, but the energy is more as claiming that we are co-creator, and as a co-creator, I'm taking my seat. So let's do this work together. I'll do what it takes, and I leave the rest for the source, the universe, the divine, whatever, to co-create with me, because we are one after all.
That is so powerful, because I feel like, you know, man, maybe over the years has, you know, programmed us in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That when we pray, it's like we're needing something, or people only pray when they need things at times.
Yeah.
So rather than coming from a place of, even if you are feeling disappointed or frustrated or sad, or, you know, something isn't, you know, a area of your life isn't exactly where you want it to be, but you're looking to co-create with the divine, with God, to, you know, go on a path together to create the deep desire of your soul, right? Like whatever's on your heart. And because those things aren't put on our heart by mistake. So I love the way that you articulated that, like coming from a beggar sense. And I think a lot of women come, you know, into dating that way. They're like, oh, I'm not enough somehow, or, you know, I met this guy that checks all the boxes, or I need to settle because there's, you know, something that I've told myself that for whatever reason, I'm not enough to receive everything that I want. So that's the shadow side that you're talking about. Yeah. What else?
Yeah,
Tell
you
me more.
articulated. Yeah. So well said, Cyndi. It's really interesting when I tell women to start looking into their everyday actions, even the little actions, the dress you wear, the food that you eat, or the conversations you have. Are you coming from the energy of a beggar, from a needy energy? Like, why are you doing it? Or you are really coming from an energy of this creatress, this co-creator, like, okay, I feel good, so I'm doing this, not to please somebody else, not to get something out of. A lot of our actions are based on beggar energy, like really simple actions, like even not allowing ourselves to drink enough water on a busy day. Yeah, like if you really look into the minute choices that we are making, why are we not drinking enough water? Because we are just busy working too hard. Why are we busy working too hard? Because we just think that we need to get things done. And, it's this energy of, once again, putting yourself less than, that you need to do something, to be something, to receive.
That you need to prove, be moving energy and always doing something. And it becomes transactional, which then, I feel like this leads to relationships showing up transactional. Like,
absolutely,
I need to do XYZ to create this, rather than it just is. Right.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's also about validation. Oftentimes many of our actions are based on validation. So I consider that as part of the beggar energy as well. A lot of things that we do is for validation, rather than just a joyful experience of just doing something.
Or self-expression from just a place of joy. So what are some examples of, like ways of being and things that we do for validation? And I feel like sometimes it's so unconscious, it's tricky. Just like what you shared about, I thought it was brilliant what you shared about the water. I should drink a little more water.
Yeah, let's do that right now. I need to. So oftentimes what a day-to-day, so you're asking me, like, what are some examples for validation? Okay, so what I see is when women specifically are doing something in order to receive. Yeah, so when we go into the practice of manifestation, I think this has been a very game changer for me, and it has made me feel so free, because I believe that I need to do something to receive, even it was for manifestation. Let's say there are 5 steps to follow, and if I do those 5 steps, that means I am receiving. I'm going to be receiving, and that means I have to be in this feeling good vibe. And every time I did not feel good, I was already feeling guilty that, oh my God, maybe I am obstructing my manifestation.
Right. I've done that too. I've done the exact same thing as you. Okay.
Yeah, so it didn't make sense, and it wasn't fair. I was thinking that we are women, and we range from emotions like up and down throughout the day. We cannot always be feeling good to receive, to manifest. So how do we really manifest? So I decided, and another core energetics of the feminine empress is that there is nothing to do or be in order for us to receive, other than saying yes to our soul.
Yes,
and this
I love that.
Was so freeing. So freeing. That means that if today I am feeling like shit, I'm not in the mood to do the thing. And sometimes, the being becomes the work as well. Like, I have to do my practices, because if I don't do the practices, then, I'm not receiving.
Well, right. Then it becomes transactional again, right?
Yeah.
It's this whole, and I feel like our watchers and listeners on here can relate to this, especially if they've done manifestation practices, or they're looking to manifest their man, and everything else is good, but this one area,
one little thing, right, and then you beat yourself up for that. And that's not fair. So what I felt is that if we actually remove the factor of the condition of doing or being, and what it requires is in each moment me saying yes to my soul, literally me saying yes. So yes, today I feel like crap and I can't do it, but I'm really honoring what I'm feeling. So I'm not doing it for the sake of doing, I'm not being for the sake of being, but I'm really saying yes, and really bringing that trust inside of our bodies. And these are through practices, obviously it takes time, but just realizing the fact that I don't have to do or be, but I just have to say yes. But this comes with a big responsibility. That means we got to understand what our yes is. How do the yes sound in our body? How does it even feel? And what does it translate like? And can I really trust to really listen to the to the yes? Because that's often the big part, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So can I listen to the yes? Can I trust the yes? So how does she tune in to these feminine empress archetypes? So she's actually open to receiving and co-creating with the universe, and, you know, like creating her manifestations and enjoying the journey along the way, you know, like getting rid of that. I call it the inner mean girl, like getting rid of that negative chatter and noticing it, right? So how does she put this into practice?
So here's the work of remothering comes in, because again, we've got to remother this inner mean girl, as you say. We've got to really, you know, sit with this inner mean girl. And oftentimes it is about, can we really have our own backs? Like, what would I be saying to myself if I am to mother myself as this person who is so confused and so lost? What will I be saying and doing? And a part of it is also really connecting to our womb wisdom, because that's where we can source the trust and the safety and this infinite intelligence that women have in their bodies. So there can be practices around that that we can use to connect and really begin that trust and safety in our bodies first.
Beautiful. So what kind of practices, just for simple steps, can a woman use to create this safety while she's in the remothering phase? I love that. You know, I was just thinking as you were sharing, I was thinking, oh, you know, what it's like. I do, you know, I definitely do little girl work with my clients, but I love the remothering piece around, you know, like, what would I say to myself? And when I'm having a moment or I'm feeling that self-doubt, like, how would I reparent myself in those moments? That's powerful. And it just requires, you know, it requires that pausing and taking that time to nurture yourself, to then be able to be open to receiving more. It's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, our bodies, women's bodies are so intelligent. It's like a walking, talking intelligence that we have all the time switched on. But the question is, are we really listening? So a lot of practices like womb breathing, womb sounding. So I teach a lot of womb related practices for women to really come into that place of like, oh, right, this is my body's intelligence, and I'm going to start listening. And in the beginning, when you start listening, it's like that it wouldn't make sense. It doesn't have to make sense. And of course, it will not make sense to your linear mind. But then what you're doing is you're really remothering yourself by coming back in relationship with this voice that is inside of you. And that's what my free gift is also going to be about. It's called Sensualize Your Womb. So I'm sharing a set of 7 days practices to connect with your womb, in sensual ways. So let's also keep it fun, right? Like no one wants to go into this dense work with all the tightness, right?
Right. So it's just what I'm hearing you say, it's like, it's this opening work that creates the heart opening and the ability to create deeper connections in the outer world. It's like what I'm hearing, this relaxation into oneself and her power.
Yes, absolutely. And what I have noticed is that when women begin this journey, there's a huge part of a process of humbling that happens, and it's a very emotional time for women when they really connect back to their womb wisdom, because it feels like, wow, I am now returning home. Where was I all this time? And so it is usually challenging. It's emotional. It can look messy because you may be angry, you may be bursting into tears, but it's a journey worth taking for all of us.
And what are some of the payoffs that women receive for stepping into this journey?
So what I have noticed in the women who have now, I do a mentorship course which is called the Empress Codes, Feminine Empress Codes, and Empress Leadership. What is happening is that we are going and meeting the light and the dark sides of ourselves. So meeting the dark side of ourselves as women is as important as meeting the light side, which I think a lot of personal development industry does not approve of, because we want to be all positive all the time. But then, women, the feminine is dark, the yin and the yang. She's dark.
There's both sides. I mean, we are so multidimensional. I mean, as human beings, we're multidimensional. Set aside we're women with, different emotions and feelings and cycles that, definitely.
Yeah, so a big part of this is really going and journeying our own darkness and making friends with this darkness, because darkness is our repressed power. So we get to learn how to really connect with our dark emotions and not to wrong it, but then how to utilize it. So one of the greatest benefits that I have witnessed is that we then learn to hold polarities. And that's what a big aim in Tantra is, that we can hold our pain and our pleasure. We can hold pain as well as the energy of the desire together. It does not define or negate our worth, our beingness, our receiving, our desirability, manifestation. But what we are doing is we are expanding it's not about becoming, getting into a higher vibe, but it's about coming into a bigger vibe.
Like what I'm also hearing too, and I could be wrong, so correct me here. If I am, it's like opening. It feels like a deeper opening and connecting with all sides of ourselves, which also creates that higher vibrational state, like that, that homeostasis, so to speak, state that feels.
Yes, because we are taught that if we are feeling low, or if we are feeling that something is not working out, then we've got to do something with that. We've got to fix it. We've got to cover it up.
And I think too, society, or messages from ourselves, even, or parents, or wherever they came from, can also might suggest there's something wrong with you, rather than just embracing that there's nothing wrong with you, and there are dimensions and different sides to yourself that get to be connected with. And
and
is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Yes, exactly. We can connect to all aspects of ourselves, not just one at a given point. So we may be feeling this heartbreak, yeah, that something is not really working out, and we can be in that energy, and we have the ability to be in the energy of the desire. So both can really coexist. It requires practice, yes, it requires intention, but then it's not something impossible. And what happens is then we get less attached to the outcome, because what we are doing is we are living each day with holding polarities. We are not expending a lot of energy in fixing ourselves, healing ourselves, getting over a fear, getting over a struggle, getting over a doubt, because we can be in that cycle all the time. And at every stage, right, at every stage we have a new doubt thrown on us, a new level of fear. It exists. So how about I just learn through various practices how to hold that dense energy, whilst I'm also enjoying being in my body, being in the energy of desire, and using pleasure as a tool, which is not only vital for us women in terms of our hormones, etc., but it's also important for our consciousness.
For sure. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it just and vital for emotional and mental well-being. So what I'm hearing you say is learning these tools and playing with them daily, I'm also hearing that it becomes a habit and a new practice that is just innately in you, kind of like brushing your teeth or something.
Yeah. It definitely, requires practice, but as you said, it can become innate. It is innate in you. It can become like brushing your teeth. It can become like, okay, here it is again. We recognize our patterns. We very well recognize our patterns, right? So we will know, okay, here the pattern again. So what do we do? That's what we do. That's what we learn. That's what we practice.
Beautiful, beautiful. Would you mind sharing a little bit about your free gift again to our watchers and listeners? I know you shared just a little bit about it, but I would love for them to hear it once again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we were just in the flow of the conversation, so I couldn't resist
like...
sharing. So my free gift is a 7 days journey. It's called Sensualize Your Womb. So each day will be a 5 to 10 minutes practice for us to connect with our wombs sensually through our senses. And women can get to try for whom this is a new topic that we discuss. You get to try different practices and see what you like, what you enjoy, and then choose one and go ahead. It's all about repetition. You just do one thing consistently and see how you can expand your vibration to receive.
I love it. That is so generous and amazing. And I invite all you women that are watching and listening to click on the link below and receive Jonita's very generous complimentary gift. So thank you so much for being here with us today, and the education and just heart opening and soul opening work that you do in the world.
It's such a pleasure. I just enjoyed this conversation, and I'm loving this topic around dating and deserving, and how women in this time and age where there is so much of distraction and information, what is a successful woman?
So right. And just like another tidbit, sorry guys, we're going to continue for just a minute.
Yeah, let's do it.
So like, how does this improve? I should have asked this question before, and I feel like it's obvious to me, but I don't know that it's obvious to everyone. How does this work improve your, opening your heart to receiving love or dating, the kind of men these women want to be dating? What have you seen?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest difference you will see is self-trust. And
It's a
when
big
we
one.
get that bit, then we are not, often we have trust issues. We women have
Of
trust
course.
issues. Yeah. But if you really go into the dark feminine work and go into the depths of the trust issues, what I have noticed 90% of the time is the issues are with trusting the self. But then we portray it on the other person, like, I don't trust that other person. But what about yourself? Right. So through this practice, I
Always
think,
about you. It always comes back to you. It's like, when
fortunately, unfortunately, yes.
no, it sucks, right? And it's good all at the same time because,
Yeah.
when we're the common denominator, we can do the heart opening, conscious awareness and work to shift that and the practices to grow around that. So,
Yeah, self-trust.
mhm. Oh, I love that. And when there's self-trust, that, that's where I find it's so much easier to connect with your intuition and trust, like, okay, this is where I get to go. This is what's right for me, and feel empowered in that instead of in a disempowered state. So thank you again.
Yeah.
So
Such a pleasure,
all
Cyndi.
right. To everyone out there, watchers and listeners, thank you again. From our hearts to yours, here's to you. And, creating the love that you are so worthy of and deserve. Until next time, bye, everyone.
Bye.